John Carter stared at the screen, his eyes wide with disbelief. The pattern of signals was unlike anything he had ever seen before. After 15 years at NASA's Deep Space Communications Center, he knew this wasn't random noise. "Dr. Williams," he called out, his voice cracking slightly. "I think you need to see this." The head of the department rushed over, coffee sloshing from his mug. He leaned over John's shoulder, eyes narrowing as he studied the repeating sequence. "My God," Dr. Williams whispered. "It's structured. Too perfect to be natural." Within hours, the facility buzzed with activity. Scientists and government officials poured in as news spread through classified channels. This was it. Humanity's first confirmed contact with an alien civilization. The world changed on May 17, 2087. 3 days after the initial signal, a reply came. The message was simple, transmitted in mathematical sequences that gradually built into a basic language primer. Whatever was out there, they were smart and eager to communicate. Susan Miller, the UN Secretary General, stood before the Emergency Assembly 1 week later. "Today, we face the most significant moment in human history. We are not alone." The entity identified itself as the Galactic Council, a federation of 37 spacefaring species. They expressed peaceful intentions and a desire to welcome humanity into their community of worlds. Global markets soared. Religious leaders called for calm and reflection. Military forces around the world went on high alert, just in case. 2 months after first contact, the Council announced they would send representatives to Earth. The landing site was prepared in a neutral zone in Switzerland, with leaders from every major nation present for the arrival. John watched the live broadcast from his apartment, still amazed that he had been the one to spot the signal. The sleek silver craft descended silently, hovering briefly before touching down on the landing pad. The crowd fell silent as a door opened in the side of the ship. The first aliens humanity would ever see in person stepped out. Tall, blue-skinned beings with 4 arms and large, expressive eyes. They called themselves Exorians. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council," the lead alien said through a translation device. "We have watched your development with great interest." Humanity celebrated. First contact had been peaceful. The aliens brought gifts of knowledge, medical advances, new energy systems, and promises of cultural exchange. For 6 weeks, the Exorians met with Earth's leaders. Susan Miller led the human diplomatic team, working tirelessly to establish a framework for Earth's entry into the larger galactic community. "They seem genuinely interested in helping us," she told her advisors after one meeting. This could be the beginning of a golden age for humanity. What Susan didn't know was that the Exorians had placed thousands of microscopic surveillance devices across key military and government facilities. Every night, they analyzed Earth's defenses, industrial capacity, and resource deposits. In their ship, away from human ears, the Exorians spoke freely. "Their technology is primitive," said Krell, the security officer. "But their military thinking is advanced. They'd spent centuries fighting each other." "And their population?" asked the mission commander. "Nearly 10 billion. Far more than we estimated. They would make excellent labor for the mining operations. The Council will be pleased. This world is rich in resources, and the humans have done much of the preliminary extraction work for us." On the final day of negotiations, the Exorian leader Zortak smiled warmly at Susan Miller as they shook hands for the cameras. His translator conveyed words of friendship and cooperation. That night, in his private quarters, Zortak prepared an encrypted transmission to the waiting Council fleet beyond Saturn. "Assessment complete," he dictated. "Earth exceeds expectations for resource potential. Military capability is significant but manageable. They are primitive but dangerous. Proceed with caution. Recommend immediate implementation of Protocol 7. He paused, looking out at the twinkling lights of the human city below. "These humans trust too easily," he added. "They will not expect what comes next." 6 months after first contact, The morning sky above Earth filled with ships. They appeared without warning. Hundreds of massive vessels that dwarfed anything humans had built. Their dark hulls blocked the sun in major cities worldwide. Kevin Walsh, President of the United States, was woken at 3:17 a.m. by his security team. By 3:45, he sat in the Situation Room, surrounded by military leaders whose faces showed a mix of fear and determination. "They're positioning over every major city," said General Frank Howard, pointing to the satellite feed. "No response to our communications." "Get me Susan Miller," Kevin ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos. The UN Secretary General had been the face of human diplomacy with the aliens. Surely she could make sense of this. Before the call connected, all screens in the room flickered. The image of Zortak, the lead Axorian diplomat, appeared. His blue skin seemed darker, his eyes cold. "People of Earth," he began, his translator conveying his words to every electronic device on the planet. "The Galactic Council has determined that your species requires guidance. Earth is now declared a protectorate territory." Silence fell across the room. "All military assets must be surrendered immediately. Resistance will be met with appropriate force. This decision is not negotiable." Kevin leaned forward. What happened to cooperation? To cultural exchange? Zortak's 4 arms moved in a dismissive gesture. "Your resources are too valuable to leave in primitive hands. The Council requires your world's minerals and biological diversity. Your cooperation will make this transition less painful." The transmission cut off. Seconds later, reports flooded in of energy beams striking military bases worldwide. In Beijing, Commander Lisa Chen watched in horror as the Chinese Air Force was destroyed before leaving the ground. Her training kicked in, and she began organizing an evacuation of surviving personnel. "Get everyone underground," she ordered, "and find me any weapon that might hurt those ships." Around the world, similar scenes played out. Human military technology proved nearly useless against the Council's shields. Nuclear missiles were intercepted before reaching their targets. Fighter jets were swatted from the sky like insects. 3 days into the invasion, the death toll reached millions. Major cities lay in ruins. Earth's government struggled to maintain any form of organized resistance. Kevin Walsh addressed his nation from an underground bunker, his face haggard from lack of sleep. "We will not surrender our freedom without a fight," he declared. Throughout history, humanity has faced overwhelming odds and persevered. But privately, he knew the situation was hopeless. The technological gap was too great. On the 7th day, the Council landed ground forces. The Drakari, a reptilian species specialized in conquest, led the occupation. They established processing centers where humans were evaluated for labor assignments. "Your species will serve the Council," the Drakari commander announced to captured world leaders. "The strong will work the mines. The intelligent will serve in research facilities. The rest are expendable." Lisa Chen, having escaped the initial attack, watched from hiding as people were herded into transport ships. Her small group of survivors had salvaged weapons and supplies, disappearing into the mountains outside Beijing. "This isn't over," she told her followers. "They think they've won, but they don't understand humans." In Washington, President Walsh faced an impossible choice: continue fighting and watch millions more die, or surrender and hope some portion of humanity might survive. With a heavy heart, he signed the formal surrender document on behalf of the United States. Other nations followed. The document was transmitted to the Council flagship. Zortak viewed it with satisfaction. "Begin full resource extraction," he ordered. "This world will serve the Council for centuries." On Earth below, as occupation forces secured major population centers, small groups of humans slipped away into forests, mountains, and underground facilities. Among them were soldiers, scientists, and ordinary people who shared one common thought. This was not the end, but the beginning of humanity's fight for survival. 3 years had passed since Earth fell to the Galactic Council. The once vibrant planet now bore the scars of intensive mining operations. Vast craters replaced forests and cities, while acid rain fell from skies choked with industrial pollution. Alan Foster crouched behind the rusted remains of a delivery truck, watching the alien patrol pass by. The former Navy SEAL had adapted quickly to this new war. His face, once clean-shaven, now bore a thick beard and a scar that ran from his left eye to his jaw, a reminder of his first encounter with Drakari soldiers. "They're heading west," he whispered to the 5 resistance fighters beside him. "We move in 5 minutes." The Drakari were the Council's enforcers, reptilian soldiers that stood 7 feet tall with armored skin that could deflect small arms fire. They patrolled the ruins of what had once been Seattle, now a processing center for human laborers. Alan checked his weapon, a hybrid rifle that combined human design with alien power cells, modified by the Resistance to penetrate Drakari armor. The Council never expected humans to adapt their technology so quickly. "Remember," Alan told his team, "we get the food supplies and any medicine we can carry. No unnecessary risks." The Resistance had grown steadily over the past year. Small groups at first, military personnel, police officers, and ordinary citizens who refused to submit. Now they numbered in the thousands, operating in cells across what remained of human territory. Miles away, in an underground laboratory hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains, Patricia Garcia worked tirelessly. The former biochemist had made a critical discovery 3 months earlier. The Council ships use a biological component in their communication system. She explained to the Resistance Council, "It's why we couldn't hack their transmissions before. They're not just using technology, they're using artificially grown neural tissue." This breakthrough had led to the Resistance's first major victory. By creating a synthetic version of the neural tissue, they managed to intercept Council communications. Now they could predict patrol patterns and supply shipments. In what had once been Denver, a massive Council communication hub stood where downtown had been. Surrounded by energy barriers and guarded by Drakari elites, it coordinated all Council activities in North America. Alan's team had been gathering intelligence on the facility for months. Every detail, every guard shift, every weakness was documented and analyzed. "We'll never get a better chance," Alan told the Resistance leadership. "Their security protocols shift every 6 months. We have 3 weeks before the next change." The plan was dangerous but simple. Infiltrate the facility, plant disruptors on the main communication arrays, and escape before the Council realized what happened. If successful, it would blind Council forces across the continent for days. What the Council never understood about humans was their adaptability. When their advanced weapons proved too powerful, humans switched to guerrilla tactics. When their patrols became too effective, humans went underground. When their technology seemed insurmountable, humans learned to repurpose it. The night before the mission, Alan found Patricia working late in her lab. "Will it work?" he asked, gesturing to the small disruptors she had developed. She nodded, her exhausted eyes showing a glimmer of hope. The tests were successful. These should overload their neural networks completely. "Good," Alan said, "because tomorrow, we show the Council that taking Earth was their biggest mistake." The mission began at dawn. Alan led a team of 12 Resistance fighters through the sewers beneath the communication hub. Their movements were timed to coincide with a distraction on the city's eastern edge. As alarms blared in the distance, Alan's team emerged from a maintenance shaft inside the facility perimeter. They moved silently, using stolen Council identification to bypass the first security checkpoint. "Remember," Alan whispered as they approached the main building, "we have 18 minutes before they realize the eastern attack is a diversion. Make every second count." What none of them realized was that this mission would be the turning point in humanity's fight for survival, the first step in taking back their world. The attack on the Denver communication hub changed everything. For 3 days, Council forces across North America operated blind, unable to coordinate their responses to the sudden surge in resistance activities. When the system finally came back online, 37 Council outposts had been destroyed. Karen Wilson stood in the underground workshop, surrounded by dismantled alien technology. The former aerospace engineer had become the Resistance's most valuable asset in understanding and adapting Council weapons. The power cells work on principles similar to fusion, she explained to the group of fighters gathered around her, but they're far more efficient than anything we developed before the invasion. She held up a modified Council rifle, now resized to fit human hands. This will punch through Drakari armor at 200 yards, and the power cell lasts for approximately 500 shots. One of the fighters whistled. 500. The old ones barely gave us 50. Karen nodded. I've figured out how to bypass their built-in limiters. The Council never expected their weapons to be used against them. On the Council flagship orbiting Earth, Admiral Logan of the Drakari paced furiously. His tail lashed behind him, reflecting his agitation. 3 years. He roared at his subordinates. 3 years, and these primitives still resist. How is this possible? The casualty reports from the past month showed alarming trends. Human attacks had become more coordinated, more effective. Worse, they were using modified Council technology with increasing skill. We require reinforcements, Logan decided. Send a request to the Council immediately. The response came 2 days later, and it was not what Logan expected. Request denied, the Council representative stated coldly. Earth operation costs now exceed resource extraction benefits. Consider abandonment of the project. Logan couldn't believe what he was hearing. Abandonment. After all we've invested, the humans are still contained. Barely, came the reply. Other Council interests require our attention. You have 3 months to bring the situation under control, or withdrawal will be mandatory. Unknown to Logan, the Resistance had intercepted this communication. In bunkers across the globe, human leaders planned the most ambitious operation yet. We strike all major Council bases simultaneously, Alan Foster told the assembled commanders via secure video link. They're vulnerable, and they know it. Eric Johnson, who led the European resistance, nodded in agreement. My people are ready. We've stockpiled enough modified weapons to arm every fighter. The plan was set for execution in 2 weeks. Teams worldwide prepared for what might be humanity's last chance at freedom. On the night before the attack, Karen made a final adjustment to the captured Council communications system they would use to coordinate the global assault. There's something else, she told Ellen quietly. I've been studying their ship designs. If we can capture an intact vessel, I believe we could operate it. Ellen stared at her. You're talking about taking their ships. Why not? They're designed for simplicity. Most functions are automated. The idea was bold, perhaps too bold, but Alan had learned never to underestimate human ingenuity. The attack began at dawn, coordinated to the second across all time zones. Council bases from Tokyo to London found themselves under assault by humans wielding the aliens' own weapons against them. Eric Johnson led the European front, his team breaching the Council headquarters in Berlin within the first hour. The Drakari fought fiercely, but they were unprepared for the speed and coordination of the human attack. In orbit, Logan received frantic distress calls from every continent. As he mobilized response teams, more bases fell silent. The Council forces were in disarray. By sunset, humans had captured 17 Council bases intact. More importantly, they secured 3 shuttles and 1 battleship in operational condition. The Council leadership fled Earth orbit as reports of the disaster spread. They abandoned Logan and his remaining forces without orders or support. The captured battleship, renamed Defiance, became the first vessel of Earth's new fleet. As Karen's team examined its systems, they made an extraordinary discovery. It's a faster-than-light drive, Karen explained, her eyes wide with excitement. We can travel between stars. Alen looked through the viewports at the blue planet below. Then the war isn't over, he said quietly. "It's just beginning." For the first time in 3 years, humanity didn't just have hope. They had a future among the stars. 8 months after Earth's liberation, humanity had moved from defense to offense. The captured Council technology had been reverse-engineered, replicated, and improved upon. 15 ships now comprised Earth's growing fleet, each crewed by soldiers and engineers determined to make the Council pay for what they had done to their home world. Captain Olivia Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the flagship Retribution, watching as her crew prepared for their first major offensive operation. Once a commercial airline pilot, she had adapted quickly to space combat, showing a natural talent that put her in command of Earth's most powerful vessel. "Status report," she ordered, her dark eyes fixed on the main display showing their target, a Council mining colony near Alpha Centauri. "All systems ready, Captain," her first officer replied. "The other ships are in formation and awaiting your command." Olivia nodded. "Send the signal. Operation Payback begins now." The Earth fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel simultaneously, appearing without warning above the mining colony. The Council had believed humans contained on Earth, never imagining they would bring the fight to the stars. The colony was primarily a Drakari operation, using enslaved beings from 3 different species to extract valuable minerals. Security was minimal. The Council had never needed to defend these outer colonies before. "Target their communication arrays first," Olivia ordered. "Then power systems. I want them blind and helpless." The attack was swift and merciless. Within 20 minutes, the colony's defenses were neutralized. Council overseers surrendered as Earth troops landed and began freeing the enslaved workers. Among those troops was Daniel Wright, formerly a diplomatic translator. As the liberated aliens emerged from the mines, he activated his translation device. "We come from Earth," he announced to the bewildered aliens. "We too have suffered under Council rule. We offer you freedom and alliance against our common enemy." The news of the attack spread quickly through Council space. Emergency sessions were called as panicked officials tried to understand how humans had acquired starships and jumped beyond their solar system. "This is unprecedented," declared the High Minister of the Council to the assembled representatives. "No species has ever broken containment protocols before." A Drakari commander slammed his fist on the table. "Because no species has ever been underestimated like these humans. We should have exterminated them when we had the chance." The Council was divided. Some called for immediate military response, others for negotiation. What none of them fully grasped was the depth of human determination for revenge. Over the next 3 months, Earth forces struck 7 more Council outposts. Each attack followed the same pattern. Communications disabled, defenses neutralized, Council personnel captured, and enslaved species liberated. With each victory, more alien species joined what Daniel Wright now called the Liberation Alliance. The Vezi, with their natural engineering abilities. The Korath, physically powerful and eager for revenge after centuries of enslavement. The Nalturi, whose photographic memories provided invaluable intelligence about Council facilities. After freeing a major Council shipyard in the Procyon system, the Earth fleet had grown to 37 vessels. Some were captured, others built using stolen designs. All were crewed by mixed teams of humans and liberated aliens. In Council space, political factions began forming around the human question. The hardliners demanded total war, advocating for a strike against Earth itself. The moderates suggested accommodation, pointing out that many Council members had themselves suffered under Drakari domination. Olivia stood in her quarters aboard the Retribution, studying the star chart that showed their next targets. Earth intelligence had identified a major Council military base in the Ta City system. "Captain," her communications officer called over the intercom. "We've received a transmission from Earth Command. The Council has formally declared war on humanity." Olivia smiled grimly. "Inform the crew. And send a message to all Alliance ships. The Council wants war. We'll show them what happens when you corner a species that never learned how to surrender." Across Council space, The message spread among their officials. The humans were coming, and they brought with them something the Orderly Council had never faced before: a burning desire for revenge at any cost. 2 years into Earth's revenge campaign, the galactic landscape had shifted dramatically. What began as a human fight for survival had evolved into a full-scale civil war across Council space. 17 of the 37 Council species now openly supported Earth or declared neutrality, seeing an opportunity to break free from Drakari dominance. The Council chamber, once a place of order and unity, had become divided. Physical barriers separated the factions as accusations and threats replaced diplomatic discussion. "The humans must be contained," roared the Drakari representative, his scales flushing red with anger. "They have destroyed 53 council facilities and corrupted nearly half our membership." From across the chamber, the Exorian delegate spoke calmly. "Perhaps if we had approached Earth with genuine peace, rather than exploitation, we would not face this crisis." Earth forces now controlled 27 star systems. Their fleet had grown to over 100 ships, many crewed by mixed species united in their hatred of Council rule. The Liberation Alliance, as it was now officially known, had established its headquarters on a captured Council station in the Epsilon Eridani system. Jason Rivera worked in a sealed laboratory aboard that station. Once a physicist specializing in theoretical energy systems, he now led the team developing Earth's most powerful weapon yet. "The gravitational collapse is stable," he explained to the Alliance Military Council. "When triggered, it creates a reaction that can break a planet apart at the molecular level." The room fell silent. Even after years of war, the concept of a planet-killer weapon gave pause to the assembled leaders. Admiral Carter, the head of Earth's fleet, spoke first. "We developed nuclear weapons centuries ago, but used them only twice in war. A weapon of this magnitude is exactly what the Council would use on Earth if they could retake it," Jason finished firmly. "They tried to enslave humanity. They killed millions of our people." The debate lasted for days. Some argued that using such a weapon would make humans no better than the Council. Others insisted it was necessary to end the war quickly. No decision was reached, but Jason was authorized to complete development of the weapon while the Council deliberated. On Earth, rebuilding continued as the planet recovered from Council occupation. Cities rose from ruins, and land once scared by mining operations was slowly reclaimed. But Earth remained heavily fortified, with planetary defense systems that could destroy any approaching fleet. The Council hardliners grew desperate as more systems fell to the Alliance. In a secret meeting, Drakari military leaders approved a plan they believed would end the human threat once and for all. A stealth ship carrying elite assassins penetrated Earth's defenses, targeting the leadership compound where Earth's governing council met. Their mission: eliminate the human command structure in one strike. The attack came during a major policy session. Security forces detected the intruders too late. In the ensuing firefight, 12 Earth officials were killed, including Michelle Brooks, a beloved admiral who had led Earth's first counterattack against Council forces. News of the assassination attempt spread quickly through Alliance space. Images of Michelle's funeral, attended by humans and alien allies alike, were broadcast on all channels. The Earth Council reconvened, its surviving members grimly determined. The vote was unanimous. "The time for restraint has passed," announced President Harris. "The Drakari must learn that actions have consequences." Jason Rivera received the authorization code that same day. The Planet Killer, now mounted on Earth's largest battleship, was cleared for deployment against one target: Drakar Prime, the homeworld of the species that had led Earth's invasion and now threatened its leadership. The mission was carried out with cold efficiency. The Earth battleship emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Drakari system. Before the planet's defenses could respond, the weapon was launched. Witnesses described it as a small sun descending on the planet. When it touched the surface, Drakar Prime simply collapsed inward, its core destabilized, its structure failing. 8 billion Drakari died in minutes as their world disintegrated. Throughout Council space, all communication stopped as news of the destruction spread. In countless worlds across the galaxy, beings of all species watched recordings of the event with horror. Earth had done the unthinkable. In its quest for revenge, humanity had crossed a line that even the Council, with all its faults, had never dared to cross. The destruction of Drakkar Prime echoed across the galaxy like a thunderclap. Within hours of the planet's destruction, the Council's remaining hardliners sent an emergency communication to all Earth channels. "We surrender unconditionally," the message stated simply. "All hostilities will cease immediately." Ryan Cooper, who had risen from resistance fighter to Earth's chief negotiator, received the message with mixed emotions. The war was over, but at what cost? A planet destroyed, billions dead. Even if they were the enemy, such wholesale slaughter weighed heavily on the human conscience. 1 week later, Ryan led the Earth delegation to the neutral meeting ground on Proxima Centauri's second planet. The Council representatives arrived in unarmed ships, their once proud demeanor replaced by caution and fear. "We accept full responsibility for the aggression against Earth," the lead Council delegate stated, avoiding Ryan's eyes. "We are prepared to offer reparations and technology transfers as the Alliance demands." Ryan nodded slowly. "Earth suffered greatly under your occupation. Many humans died in your mines and processing centers. The Alliance requires more than simple reparations." The terms were harsh but not unexpected. Earth would lead a new galactic governing body. All Council technology would be shared freely among member species. Former Council leaders who had ordered the invasion of Earth would face trial for war crimes. Most Council species accepted these terms immediately, eager to avoid Earth's wrath. Some joined the new Terran Confederation, seeking protection in alliance with the now dominant humans. On a rebuilt Council station, renamed Unity, the trials began. Former Drakari commanders, Axorian officials who had deceived Earth during first contact, and others who had participated in the occupation faced justice. Some received prison sentences, others were exiled to remote worlds. Vanessa Mitchell, once a school teacher from Iowa, now served as Earth's ambassador to frontier worlds. She traveled to systems that had remained outside Council influence, establishing diplomatic relations and offering membership in the new galactic order. "Earth does not seek dominance," she told the leader of a newly contacted civilization. "We seek partnership, but we will never again allow ourselves to be vulnerable to those who would exploit us." As Earth's influence spread, so too did debate among humans about their new role. Had they become what they once fought against? The destruction of Drakkar Prime remained controversial, with many humans believing it had gone too far. Jason Rivera, creator of the planet killer weapon, withdrew from public life. In his private journal, he wrote, "I gave humanity the power of gods, and we used it with the vengeance of demons. I wonder if future generations will thank me or curse my name." Earth continued to build, to expand, to strengthen its position. Defensive installations protected human colonies as they spread across nearby star systems. The Earth fleet grew larger, incorporating technologies from a dozen species. 5 years after the war's end, representatives from 200 worlds gathered for the inaugural session of the new Galactic Alliance. Earth, as the dominant power, held the leadership position, though each member world received equal voting rights. Ryan Cooper, now serving as Earth's representative to the Alliance, addressed the assembled delegates. "We gather today not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals. Earth remembers its history, both the suffering we endured and the vengeance we enacted. That memory guides us toward a better future, one where no species need fear domination by another." The vote to formalize Earth's leadership position was nearly unanimous. Only a few former Council worlds abstained, still wary of human intentions. As the session ended, Ryan stood at the observation deck, looking out at the stars. An alien delegate approached, one of the Vezi, a species that had suffered under Council rule for centuries before humans helped liberate them. "Your people changed everything," the Vesi said. Some fear you. Many respect you. All remember what happened to those who underestimated humanity. Ryan nodded. We never wanted war. We never wanted revenge. We only wanted to live free. And now you are the most powerful force in the galaxy, the Vesi observed. Power brings responsibility, Ryan replied. Earth knows that better than most. As ships departed from the station, carrying delegates back to their homeworlds, one message spread through every corner of known space. The universe would never forget the lesson. Never underestimate humanity's capacity for vicious revenge when threatened.